So tonight on NXT 2.0 or just NXT, it was apparently the last night officially on screen. That is, if not in with the brand and potentially the company, it was the last night for Kyle O'Reilly and Johnny Gargano. Now Kyle O'Reilly, if we look at the two guys here, Kyle does seem like the most likely to not just leave the NXT brand, but also leave the company in general and go to AEW or wherever he feels he'll be, allowed to let loose from a wrestling perspective. And that's cool. If he goes to AEW, want to be reforming Red Dragon with Bobby Fish, so be it. Have a little bit of a undisputed error, or maybe they call themselves the Undisputed Elite. Who knows? Along with him, Fish, and Cole, then that's fine too. Nothing against that. But when you really think about it, though, between the two, Kyle is the most likely. Johnny, his status is up in the air. Now, a lot of people reacted differently to what happened tonight in his apparent farewell segment, or his announcement he was making about his future. Saying, because basically Sean Ross Sapp reported on Fightful.com, the headline title was Johnny, for the segment, the main event segment they gave him, that Johnny is uncertain about his future. And a lot of people have basically come out and have defended the fact that if Johnny was leaving, why would WWE give him all this time? Why would they promote what he's going to do tonight here on NXT? Why would they have, the segment end with what looks like the beginning of an angle or a feud between him and NXT 2.0 or Garrison Waller? Why would they do all that if he was leaving? And those are good points. But then afterwards, some photos showed up that were taken, after NXT went off the air, showing what looks like to be a lot of people saying goodbye to Johnny. Now, of course, he was saying goodbye to Kyle as well, but this was taken after the show and after the whole angle with Gargano and Waller. And, a lot of people pointed out these photos. Alex, formerly to X-Man, retweeted these photos. And everybody basically said, hey, look at these photos. These were taken after the show went off the air. Does this look like somebody that's staying with the company? Does this look like somebody that's staying with NXT? And, they have a right to say that because it does look like, he's done not just with NXT, but with the company. Same with Kyle. But if I was to, again, like I said with Kyle, if I was to look between the two as to who's more likely to remain with the company in some capacity, I think it's going to be Johnny. I really do. Now, does that mean he's going to? Absolutely not. It could mean that he's just going to take a break and then he's going to go all elite. Maybe debut on the first TBS edition of Dynamite, for all we know. But we'll have to see. He could debut next Wednesday at Winter is Coming, same night as Kyle O'Reilly. But that's up to him. From what it sounds like, and from what a lot of people are speculating, is he's going to probably take time off to be there for his wife, Candice LeRae, when they give birth to his child. And that after some time, after the birth is done, and he's letting his baby boy, his son, get to know him, then he might consider getting back on the road. Because you can't tell me that the Garganos, LeRae and Johnny, haven't saved up the money enough to where he could take a break and just enjoy life for a while before getting back in the ring. You can't tell me that they didn't save up enough money, because they did. But now the question is, a lot of people looking at, is what's next for him. Now going off based off of those pictures that people shared after the show, that people took, after the show. One could assume that Johnny, out of the two, is the most likely to stay, and that goodbye was not a goodbye to the company, but a goodbye to NXT. Because maybe he'll take a break, and that the next time we see him will be on one of the main rosters. I mean, yeah, you had Shawn Michaels there hugging him and Kyle and everything, and that does look like it's officially saying goodbye. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. You know, did Vince McMahon hug him? You know, out of respect. Did we see Triple H hug him? We don't know. You see, for all we know, it's a goodbye to the NXT roster. You know, in the NXT brand. That's what it is. That's what it could be. But we could be wrong. For all we know, we could hear some kind of remix of Rebel Heart next week on Winter is Coming, and Sammy Guevara is making an open challenge, and now comes Johnny, or Sammy, or Kyle, or Bobby and Adam are saying we got a surprise partner, and now comes Kyle. You know, a lot of that could happen. And again, a lot of people have the right to assume that, and assume that in their opinions as something that's, no doubt, on the boards. I mean, just Alex basically parodied what he thinks is going to happen after this weekend, after both Kyle and Johnny's extended portion of the contracts end. He basically parodied Tony Khan getting on the phone with Johnny and saying, Johnny, how much you need? Okay, no problem. Beep. See you at Winter is Coming. Kyle, how much you need? Really? No problem. See you at Winter is Coming. Beep. That's not exactly how Alex did it, but that's how he sees it. That's how he sees it. And here's the thing. Again, a lot of people during the live chat and some of the super chats that he was getting were going back and forth on it. They were going back and forth. JD from NY206, I haven't watched his live stream yet, but I guarantee you, just by his Twitter that he put up, or his tweet that he put up on his Twitter, he's almost assuming that Johnny's staying. Just by his Twitter, that he's assuming Johnny is staying in some capacity. Now, he probably saw the photos too, and maybe that changed his mind a little bit, as far as, Johnny's status. But still, I believe, in my opinion, that JD feels Johnny's probably going to stay, but he's going to be main roster bound. And that could be something too. But when you get down to it, when it's all said and done, I think Alex said it best. What Johnny's future is up to him. What Kyle's future is up to him. And yes, fans like Alex and JD and Solomonster and all of them, they would love for these guys to be in AEW. I mean, here's the thing too, and I'm sure they're aware of this. Growing up in the 90s, we dealt with this with WCW and WWE and even ECW going into that three-way war they had. And there was not one side of the fan base or people that were strongly supportive of one side or the other out of those three that once they got riff of somebody's contract being up, that they wouldn't come out and say, that guy's WCW bound, and I can't wait to see him on Nitro, or I can't wait to see him at World War III, or somebody from WCW's contract's up, and they're like, hell, I can't wait to see him on Raw the next night. I can't wait to see him debut at WrestleMania. Or somebody that supports ECW sees or hears two contracts from both companies being up saying, I can't wait till these guys get here and get extreme. Oh, can you imagine the hardcore matches they'll have? Basically, that thought process is the same thought process you got today. It is the same thought process you got today. A lot of fans are assuming, and probably more rightfully and predictably so, that certain people are going to go to one company and not stay with another, and vice versa. And here's the thing. And here's the thing when you get down to it. It's no different than 20 years ago. It's no different. It's the same thing over and over again. And it's going to repeat itself even after we're long and gone. When wrestling is still around, and believe me, it will be, in some capacity, even if it's 3 different major companies or multitude of major companies, whatever, that are not AEW, that are not WWE, it's still going to continue then. It's still going to continue then. So right now, I look at it this way. Let Alex and let JD, let Solomonster and all of them, let them have their moment. Let them have the rightful moment to assume and believe because they might be on the money, that this is going to happen for both Johnny and Kyle, that they'll both be all elite before the year is out or at the start of the year. Let them have this moment. Because even if they can get one out of the two correct, that's good enough for them, because all fans want, and again it goes back to that same thought, to the same thought process that happened, 20, 25 years ago. The only reason fans want certain men and women to go to different companies when their contract expires or they get whiff it's going to expire is because they want their dream matches. That's what they want. That's all they want. That's all they want. I mean, Alex, Salamonster, and JD and the like, they want Red Dragon against the Young Bucks. That's what they want. They want Johnny Gargano against Bryan Danielson. That's all they want. If they had the power, they would grab freaking Nick Aldis, bring him to AEW and say, "You're fighting Hangman Page right now." That's what they would do. That's what they would do. Because it's what they want. It's what they fantasize of. It's what they dream of. That is why, even back in the day, you always had these fantasy matchup cards, these dream cards, these discussions in magazines and all that of, what if this happens? What if we get actual, real life WCW against WWF? It's because people want their dream matches. And sometimes they can't accept the fact that sometimes dreams are just that, dreams. And they're not going to be reality. They're not. But we now live in a day and age where you have a legit wrestling fan who owns a multi-billion-dollar successful company on a major network like the Turner Networks, TNT, and TBS, or eventually TBS, who basically, if he gets wind of somebody getting ready to leave WWE, Impact, NWA, you name it, MLW, that he's going to be right there, willing and ready, checkbook in hand, and to bring them on board. Because he, like a lot of us, back in the day, grew up fantasizing about the what-if dream matches that we could have had, and now he wants to make it a reality. But again, right now, we can only speculate and fantasize whether or not these dream matches will become reality, or some of them might just remain just that, dreams. So to me, like I said, let the overall wrestling fans, both WWE and AEW, more supportive of AEW, but let the overall wrestling fans and of all wrestling promotions out there, whether they agree with what they're doing or not, let them have this moment. Let them have this moment because, again, they might be right on the money and they may not be right on the money. But let them have this moment. And that's all I'm going to say. But let me know what your thoughts are down below. Comment if you like in the live chat during the premiere. Like the video. Check me out at my Teespring store, especially during Christmas time to find some gifts there. Also check me out at BW Rosas, discussions on all your favorite audio podcast locations except for Pandora. And if you're listening on Anchor.fm, listener support has been activated if you want help to support me there. And speaking of the podcast, I am close to 300 podcast episodes, so be on the lookout for that. Also, check me out at BW Rosas on VENMO, and check me out at patreon.com/BWRosas to support me with a $1 or $3 tier, as well as check me out at Venmo at Brian-Walmer-2, and that's Venmo, that is. Oh, Venmo, I should say. That's Venmo. It's Venmo at Brian-Walmer-2 if you want to help financially support me there too. But yeah, give me your thoughts. Give me your thoughts overall, and I'm out.